Alright, it's time to follow it up with the sequel for Ace Attorney this time. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney Justice for All, featuring Dante from the hit series Devil May Cry, Jesus that's a mouthful, is a sequel released in 2002, featuring a different set of cases to talk about and different stories to be told. Now, I don't want to sound pedantic in a way, but I do recall seeing lots of people say that this game is underrated, to which I say, no, I think this game is correctly rated in the form of it's alright. It's in no way bad. But I wouldn't say this is good either. There are a couple of things that make this a much better experience than the first game, but all in all, we still face the same problems from the first game. Some have been mitigated, obviously, in some capacity, but others are still prevalent, aka getting lost and having zero idea on what to do and where to go. So yeah, this game is a mixed bag for me. I will talk about the things that I think are cool, with execution being meh, and the things that I think just outright success with the cases. So without further ado, let's get started. The first case of this entire game. Do I have some things to say about this one? As usual, we have to have a tutorial case, because I would think it would be strange for a game to not have a tutorial, and I honestly don't mind me a tutorial case here and there, since it allows for, much simpler cases that still require you to figure out stuff, but it's not rocket science trying to think for the answers, and for the most part, I think this case does a fine job at that. The problem is the amnesia plot. Now listen, I don't hate the amnesiac aspect of this case, but it feels so out of place in a way. I guess this was the only way to make a beginner case with Phoenix as the defense without regressing his character to dumbass status, well, as if the first game showcases Phoenix at his best. My biggest problem with this case, or rather this tutorial, is how incomplete as fuck it is. No, seriously, they just mention these gameplay mechanics like, oh, you're already supposed to know, and it doesn't bother to fully explain them either. Let's take the cross-examination for example. All Maggie tells you is that you need to expose the lies within them. I mean, they're not wrong, but what does it mean to expose the lies? How does one do that? They don't even tell you can present profiles to contradict statements, which, by the way, this mechanic is extremely stupid because the game barely uses this damn thing. First of all, it's always used during a which person did what question after this one, and I'm fairly sure this is the only instance where you use a profile to object to a statement. It's very telling when the only game mechanic that's fully explained is fucking press. This stupid ass game mechanic that makes no sense on how it fundamentally functions is the game mechanic Maggie bothers to give a full explanation in only one line of dialogue. Also, bluffing to the max. Bro, he bluffed like one time during case 4, what are you on about? Case writing wise, I think this case is fine. Logically, I don't think I have seen any leaps or issues. The mystery itself isn't all that exciting, to be honest. It's still fun to solve because it's a murder mystery, but exciting it wasn't. Probably because the case is pretty basic. What's not basic is this particular contradiction that I really liked, where you have to show the court that the victim is left-handed with the baseball glove. It relies on the image the item in question has, and for you to notice this little quirk, and it just made me a little bit happy because this is a cool way of objecting to contradictions. Character-wise, Maggie Bird, didn't care that much about her. Fucking Richard Wellington, okay. Why the hell do we have another chatterbox? Actually, scratch that. Why is he this lame? Good god, he's such a boring villain. He doesn't even attempt to do anything, he just cracks under pressure in like 2 seconds. Mr. Payne, with all due respect, I don't give a shit about the motive. Okay, so this is something that every case in this game does, and future cases also do this. Not all of them, which is even worse, where they have you proving the culprit's motive, but like, why would it matter what their motive is? Why should we care? It's not like every single point that I have made beforehand will get discredited, right? Right? Also, the plot twist is literally impossible to have happened. Here's the gist. Richard knocked Phoenix out to retrieve his lost phone, thus causing Phoenix to suffer from amnesia, but then Maya later on tells us that she called us 1,000,000 times on the phone. And at this point, you realize, wait, this twist makes zero sense. Literally, Richard should know the phone he has is not his. Why proving the fact that the phone he does have is not his was even a remotely important point boggles my mind. But hey, at least he spotted them bananas in the wall. Yeah, I don't know. This case is weird as fuck. I don't like it that much. Maya Maya is back on the chopping block again. Well, for all it's worth, I like that the focus on this entire case is all about spirit channeling. A pretty unique thing to have in your murder mystery. Imagine the potential this holds. I also like that the case opens up with us talking to the future victim, which is a nice change of pace. I also love this stupid ass image. This image is incredible. I love how the nurse is so detailed in their shading. Meanwhile, everyone else is a fucking caricature. Those guys look like they got sucked out. So anyways, the first investigation. Investigations are back on the block, baby. Oh boy. So remember how investigations were fairly boring in the first game? Just, point and click adventure games. Basically, which wasn't the end of the world, but there wasn't much substance to them. Well, Justice for All has the legendary idea to mitigate this problem with the introduction of the Magatama in its fucking ass. So I understand what they're trying to do. They wanted to take a system in the form of objecting to contradictory statements using evidence that is present in the trials, and they try to, inject that into the investigations. A gameplay segment that wasn't that fun to begin with in the first place. However, I despise the fact that even on its introduction, they're like, listen man, if you don't have shit, back the fuck away. And no? Why can't I just confront the witness right then and there, and when I have all that I need? Because at the end of the day, these are still just basically witness testimonies that have questions attached to them. I don't see a point in backing off whenever necessary. It just feels like I'm wasting my time, right? And when you realize you don't have the necessary shit and then you go and get it, you have to sit through the entire process all over again. Basically from question number 1. That's pretty stupid. It's also stupid. You might make the mistake that, maybe you don't have the shit that you need. Maybe the question was so obtuse that you made the misunderstanding that, maybe I don't have the thing that I need, even though you have the thing that you need. So you waste even more time just fucking around and finding out. This is stupid. One more thing that will happen at one point, a player might get lost in the sauce trying to navigate the case, and their first instinct is to try to psyche locks. That goes nowhere, and they lose a life because they have no idea where to go and what to do, especially when this game seems hell-bent to having you present certain profiles to certain people so you can progress. I also don't know how to feel about the loss of my HP being carried into the trial and vice versa. It just feels like they made the game unnecessarily hard. I mean, fuck me, dude. Some of these contradictions already feel pretty hard to spot. It can lead to multiple fails before you even find the goddamn thing. And combine that with what I said, and you might get one game over a bit much. First trial day, let's talk about the new prosecutor. I fucking love Franziska. I feel like this character just single-handedly carries this game and makes the experience much more entertaining. Her gimmick is just whipping people off. One could say she creates slapstick comedy. Anyways, the two witnesses here Gumshoe and Lara, case writing wise, I think are pretty good. I like the contradiction where he had to point out the lack of gunpowder on the costume. I also don't like that the costume having a hole didn't come up a bit sooner. Despite the Gumshoe's first testimony is just a press all. Press all testimonies are so fucking lame, bro. Lara's first testimony is also a press all. I also completely forgot that Franziska pulls out this bullshit. This photo right here cracks me up. Just so she can make the point about spirit mediums and shit like that. The true definition of perfect victory, huh? But overall, the first trial day is fine. Nothing to object hard to. Except for that one particular question that had a very precise answer. Fuck you for that. Anyways, the second investigation day is honestly more or less the same. Some people have some psyche logs, gather evidence, chase after a southern gal, meet the itchiest motherfucker to ever grace this planet. Itchy. Tasty. So since investigating is more or less the same, I'm just gonna take the time and bitch about Pearl's psyche lock. This stupid ass bitch asked me, oh, well, how can I tell the urn is broken? So naturally, you would present the urn, right? It's visibly broken. Yeah, sure, you can particularly prove when it broke, but a child's probably not gonna think about those kinds of details, man. So it should have been straightforward, but no. The answer is not the barely put together urn. No. The answer is presenting Maya Fey's profile. Her name is literally mentioned on the fucking urn's description in the court record. What? Aside from that atrocity, I got lost more times than I would have liked. This case stinks, man. And lastly, the final trial days, so you have not one, not two, but 3 press-all testimonies. This case has 10 testimonies in total, and the truth of that is just pressing every statement. Like, hello, as if having just one wasn't more than enough. I also despise this one point Phoenix makes about how Eni should have definitely spotted Pearl in a winding way, but you cannot prove that shit. You just say shit, and the court is like, well, okay, he's speaking them facts. No? What's worse is that the case continues to be normal before and after this one point was made. I don't think this ruins the entire case, but it's such a stupid logical leap. Yes, we know she was here, but how does one prove that shit in court? The answer is you can't. So the fact that they just move on from that point is extremely idiotic. Want to know what's also idiotic? Motive! Ding 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 ding! Yes, but of course! How could I have missed this? I'm such a fucking dumbass, man. Eeny Miny could have, licked her fucking murder weapon. Her body juices could have been all over the crime scene. Her hair DNA could have been found at one point in this crime. But because I didn't prove why she murdered some dumbass, well, shit, fuck me. I guess she is innocent. Why does it matter is my question, shut the fuck. And that's pretty much it. A heartfelt revenge story brought down by lame investigations and stupid as fuck trial moments. I like the story this case presents, and the plot twist where Eeny Miny actually died instead of Mimi, and Mimi is basically cosplaying as her sister. Pretty damn good, but I just wish the gameplay was better. Also 3 press-all testimonies, mind you. Ever since I started replaying these games, I never thought that Turnabout Big would garner a reaction this strong from me, and not for the reasons you might think. Deadass, I'm gonna look into your eyes and tell you that this case is fine. In fact, it's decent. Let's get the elephant out of the room. Let's address the elephant out of the room. So there's this character named Regina Berry, who is a 16-year-old shelter girl, and there are these 2 dudes who fawn over her. The defendant, Max Galactica, a famous magician, asks her hand in marriage, and he's 21 years old. One would think, that's a bit weird, that's a bit strange, and personally for me, it just ends there. The other 2, however, this man here, Benjamin Woodman, is a 31-year-old man that wants to marry this girl. Kinda forgot this detail about this case. Oh, no, wait, sorry, my bad. It's not a 31-year-old grown man that's, asking a 16-year-old's hand in marriage. It's the freaking puppet man. The puppet is the one that wants the girl, okay? The puppet is problematic to the plot. That's one minor inconvenience that caused everyone to pretty much detest this case, even if they try not to think about this when talking about the actual case. So you know what, let's just get started. Let's knock off the investigation segments. They're fine. I never got lost doing something. Every single time they had a psyche log moment, I always seemed to have every single piece of evidence right then and there, and if I didn't, then it was pretty obvious that I didn't. Let Turnabout Big be the shining example of how to implement the maggot sema. I can't believe this! So yeah, the investigation segments were extremely smooth. There was one time where I had to present a specific piece of evidence to Max Galactica, which I thought was pretty lame because I lost some time thinking what I needed to do. But yeah, the investigation segments for once didn't make me want to strangle someone out of pure boredom and / or frustration. Good job! The trial days are pretty ridiculous in a good way. Huh? And bad way, I suppose? Honest to God, I don't really care about what Triller had to say. I don't think they added much other than they saw the defendant walk in their area near the crime scene. Instead, we had to focus on their stupid-ass relationship with the silly girl. Like, bro, no one gives a fuck, bro. His testimonies also had some strange-ass gameplay. Like, I fucking know that he misses his ring and is lying about its location, being on his personage. So why can't I just present the fucking ring here? I have it right here, bro. It's not rocket science to figure out that this ring belongs to Trello. Also, Phoenix, my man, please, for the love of God, remember the 3 symbols for my own sake. Then we have Mo the Clown. I love this guy. I hate the gameplay during his testimonies. So because he's a clown, he needs to crack some jokes. However, the court doesn't give a shit, so if we make him say jokes during the cross-examination, then we die. Why me? All I want is to find out more about a specific thing he said. It's not my fault he cracks jokes. You can't just take that away from a professional funny man. Honestly, this is more of an issue during his first testimony, as subsequent testimonies become much easier to solve and not require lots of pressing. Listen, I understand they wanted to experiment a bit with pressing, but this wasn't it. The case itself is like fairly normal in a way. Like, it just had annoying gameplay and ways to show proof, but case writing wise, I didn't see anything wrong. I feel like the crime itself could only happen in a video game. No way in hell this happens in real life. As for the second day, it's all just Acro on the stand. He's a very calm and stoic character, so honestly, while it wasn't particularly hard breaking his testimonies, I felt like I wasn't making much progress due to his lack of reactions. I never felt like this in any other case. Nevertheless, they found a way to make the exact same mistake as in case 2. I'm sorry bro, but you'll never catch me believing the fucking circus monkey carried a giant ass statue bust of Max up until the 3rd floor where Acro lives. You're just making shit up at this point. And of course, the fucking murder. Are you serious? God, I'm sick and tired already of this shit. Every case in this game has the motive question and they're all worthless. You know what? I thought if there's one place that would make sense to ask this question, then it would be now. Since Acro has stated that the ringmaster was like a father to him, why would he murder him? Well, turns out I was right. It didn't fucking matter. The issue is we don't have the freaking murder weapon, so you wasted my time for nothing. Thanks, game. Well, for what it's worth, the plot was certainly unique, and his breakdown feels like 2 tails are coming out of his eyes. What the fuck, man? I feel like Franziska and the judge are at their best here. Franziska is, obvious. She has a bit more fun in this case than case 2, but she still insists on the fucking motive. I also like her interactions with Phoenix outside the court, and pretty much what the game has been hitting the whole time, that being Prosecutor Miles Edwards' death. Not really, and I like how Phoenix stops beating around the bush in this case. He berates the fuck out of Franziska for being rightfully annoying to him. He makes fun of Maya for being a fatso. Kinda real. But the most surprising part is the judge is at his top here. His interactions with Franziska is both scared of her whip and also berating the fuck out of her for being a scummy bitch. I always like this thing between these 2 characters. I feel like Judge is perfectly written to have some silly moments in this game, but still be full on serious even if a bit slow. I also love how he calls out at Mo for being such an unreliable witness, and he even goes full Saiyan mode on the guy for lashing out. That was probably my favorite part in the entire case. True law becomes irrelevant after the first half is done. I'm not kidding, he does nothing the second half. Max Galactica is an interesting defendant, a pretty arrogant guy with a penchant for ambition. It was unclear at first, but it became obvious that he wants the circus to do better, not bearing any ill meaning behind that. Pretty respectable. Well, can I be honest, I chuckled at some of his jokes. I laughed and I clapped. Sue me. This guy will never be annoying in my books. Regina Berry and Acro are interesting characters. Acro was just an orphan alongside his brother who the ringmaster took care of, and later on they became great acrobats, with a good stage name for the both of them. Acro and his brother Pat. I like that he's genuinely pissed to high heavens about what happened to Pat and blames Regina for it. Pat was trying to do a dare for Regina, but an accident happened.
Was that the bite of 87?
So now Pat, with his head being chomped up by a lion, has been in a coma for 6 months now. So I pretty much love the fact that his target was Regina the whole time, but the ringmaster took the fall for her. It really sucks because Regina is a sheltered kid. She believes that when people pass away they become stars in the sky. It's also a bit sad, and it's really good that at the end of her case she learned to accept reality and the hard truth of it. A pretty heartfelt story, so to speak. So leave this case alone, I tell ya. There is one thing wrong with it, but it can be easily fixed. Other than that, I really enjoyed this case. I did not expect to have such a pleasant time with it. Actually underrated. Final case time. The first investigation day is honestly so fucking long, Jesus Christ. It took me an hour and a half to get through it. Looking at what they have you doing doesn't seem like it's gonna take more than an hour, but the problem is I got lost while playing this shit. Can we stop with the presenting profiles to progress shit? It's very annoying, I hate it. I don't want to see it ever again. We are going to see this next game. Overall, fine start. The second investigation day at the very least. I didn't get lost while playing, which for some reason feels like the bare minimum. Everything happens at a pretty quick pace, and I don't think a single second is wasted here, but I'll talk about this case spacing a little later. The first trial day sees us defend Matt Angard, an actor, in what looks to be a setup to frame this dude. Cool first name, I must say, Mr. Angard. And honestly, I think they do a good job at making you think this guy is all fine and dandy. I mean, look at him, how could he murder anyone? He was as hot as fuck manager, I tell you. Genuinely speaking, what does old bag add this case besides the tabloid stuff and the missing camera for Southern gal? I refuse to speak that name. then she gives me a lot of grief. I'm gonna be honest, if you just cut old bag out of this case, then I don't think much would change. If anything, if they want to bring the tablet rumor stuff to the light, then they can provide additional gameplay that allows us to prove this is legit. I like Adrian Andrews' testimonies. I didn't notice any issues unless I'm brain dead. I like how we start with her being prehistoric to spiraling out of control, and she keeps getting accused of being the mastermind behind this crime. She even pleads the fifth in order to not be suspicious. I don't think she realizes that makes her even more sus. I wonder who planted this idea in her mind. Oh yeah, Franziska is in this case, and then she's not. She got shot, which is crazy. The Von Karmas must have a close relationship with bullets. So instead, Edward shows up and to save the day. That's awesome, man. I don't care. I like the part where Phoenix goes all out on Adrian Andrews, basically demolishing her credibility till it's non-existent, until we get the actual truth. I also like the part where when the first trial day ends, it's ominously quiet. Feels like you got a bad ending and made a mistake somewhere along the trial. Imagine a game where there are multiple ways that a trial can go and those result in different outcomes. That would be sick, not gonna lie. Oh yeah, and then I mentioned Maya is kidnapped during all of this? I mean, to be honest, I feel like they want me to be emotionally invested in this matter, but I already seen everything assistant characters bring to the table. I have played these games before. I really don't care. I wish I cared, but I don't. Second trial day, we get Will Powers on the stand to testify about the assassin. And I kinda wish they didn't have these testimonies. If anything, it just makes the assassin / kidnapper look fucking incompetent. This guy right here, a freak of nature, literally says that he saw all of what he witnessed by accident. Like, goddamn, yeah, just invalidate everything that happened up until now. Like, yeah, sure, man. You know what? Let's just get the damn guy on the witness stand. How about them apples? I will say, this trial had some fucking odd ways of objecting to contradictions. Less so for Will's testimony since we barely objected to them. The killer's testimonies are also just whatever to me. Like, oh no, look guys, he trusts his clients. How nice of him. But like, let's put into perspective the entirety of this case, man. There's so much shit happening in this man for like 2 days. It's insane to me. I feel like this case goes by too fast. Like, not so long ago, we just learned about this suicide and this other attempted suicide. Then we tell said suicidal girl to kill herself. That was a banger decision, Edward. Forgive him, his edging is worth. Then we find out our client is an evil fucked up hamburger man, evil guy. It used many people to his advantage, to having the assassin who kidnapped our best friend away from us testify to the stand. It just so happens so fast. If you blink, you would honestly miss a lot of the shit here. I don't see why this wouldn't work as a 3-day case. I also don't like how kind of dumb this whole thing with our client is. Like, there's a guard right there. There's a camera right there. What's stopping anyone from finding out you're crazy? What's worse is that this dumb fuck revealed his true colors in court as well. Like, damn, fuck any popularity. It's all about that drama juice, baby. For starters, how about we gently open the door? At the same time, I kinda wish I did investigate these two man-children's mommy issues, Mara Angard and Juan Corrida. Don't really make for an interesting defendant and victim to have in those roles and to learn about them. I kinda wish the case was about something else entirely. Case writing wise, it's fine, and I do like how this practically challenges Phoenix's worldview on his job as a defense attorney. I also like how it manages to always keep the tension at its max. All in all, I like this case. It's a fine ending for the game and it delivers. That also means that Franziska will never ever have big moments like in this game. Speaking of which, I see a distinct lack of Franziska in this case, so actually this case sucks big donkey ass. Adrian Andrews is a fascinating character, so to speak. She lives and dies based on her codependency, which is a secret she doesn't want it out. And it is a bit sad to see how much she cared about her mentor, who was basically her entire reason to exist. So yeah, she's cool. She's also pretty hot. I also find it cool that this case does have a bad ending. All you need to do is fuck up intentionally during a critical moment in the game, and there you go. Really cool, and also a little bit unsettling just the implications this ending suggests, since there were lots of things established. We practically ruined an innocent bystander's life. Maya probably would never forgive us for letting Ungar get away. One could say defense attorney Phoenix Wright chose death. The miracle never happened. I'm not misspelling, by the way, this was an actual misspell on the original version. Kinda ruined the whole mood. Honestly, as a game ender, it's fine, but not my favorite. But of course, they couldn't end this game without one final great moment from my favorite character in this entire game. One final fuck you for what you're about to witness in the next game with the stupid ass Carter will never ever be mentioned again because, oops, all spoilers! I'll miss you, Franziska. I miss you dearly. And And that's it! Finally, this video is done! Sorry it took me so long to do this one. I played through the game hilariously slow, and I got addicted to Dead by Daylight, meaning that game had me waste a lot of time in general. I don't regret one bit. Hopefully from now on we can get a move on, especially since February is a month where I have something a bit unorthodox that I want to do, so stay tuned for that. As for the game, it's just more Ace Attorney with slight changes here and there. Not the miracle sequel, but a bad game isn't in my opinion. And with that, I'm off to try finishing up the Layton trilogy before a certain date. Have a nice day!